Well, hello, DCO Nation. Welcome to Deadcom Outdoors Radio. This is the show where the tide set the tone and the bite tells the story. We're diving into everything saltwater inshore kayak fishing, from lures and locations to weather, water, and winning tactics. If it helps you hook up on more fish, we're talking about it right here. So grab your paddle, check your drag, and here we go. Well, hello, DCO Nation, and welcome to Deadcom Outdoors right here on the Outdoor Radio Network. I would like to invite everybody to follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube. I know I say it every week, and it's starting to become very redundant, but for some reason, I can't remember it all. That's horrible. I am just getting way too old. That's why I look up and I got to write it down. So guys, tag me in all of your photos because, I love to see what you guys are doing. The DIYs on your kayaks, your fish catches, tag me so that you guys can share it with everybody, and just search Deadcom Outdoors and we can get connected. So this week, super excited for the guest that we are having on. It's been since last year since I have talked to Captain Tanya, but she is probably the busiest, hardworking captains right now. She's been doing TV shows, seminars, and I think you guide a little bit during the week too. So just to fill up your week, you do some guiding on the side. So Captain Tanya, thank you so much for carving out some time and jumping on here and talking with us.
Oh, absolutely, Chris. I love when you reach out, and, happy to hop on anytime, and really always enjoy our time together. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. So I want to jump right into the TV show that you did. I'll let you explain it. It happened back in March. That's when I watched it. I was actually in Nashville when you texted me, and then I saw it did it come on Sunday or Saturday? But anyway, yes, I'll let you go, but it was great. So explain who you were with and what you did.
Yeah, so I was blessed with just the incredible opportunity. Actually, last November, so 2025, I get a text from George Poveromo, and I got a text from George because I had actually been on his faculty as one of his staff when he did his seminar series back in 2025 in January and in Charleston. So I participated, and unbeknownst to me, he'll often use that as kind of an interview, if you will, to potentially help him down the road with things. And so I get this text from George in November, and he's like, "Hey, how's the fishing right now?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's November. It's pretty dang good." And he proceeds to, kind of banter a few things. And he's like, "Hey, can I come down and, do some fishing with you and film an episode?" And of course, I'm like, "Are you sure you have the right person?" I'm like freaking out a little bit. I'm like, of course, immediately I said yes, but I'm also freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have to actually put George Poveromo, the man, on fish here in Charleston. So,
Right.
My confidence, was, it was low just because I was like so intimidated by, doing this. But, I looked at it as, all right, you're either going to do okay or you're going to fail miserably. And I was just hoping that I was going to do okay.
No.
It was pretty awesome. So we filmed the show in November. We had really good fishing. The fishing gods were very, very kind to me. And we managed to really just get a ton of footage. And then that aired this past March. So it was March 15th, aired on the Discovery Channel, which was pretty cool. Never expected that to happen in my, in my life. And so it's been very good for me, certainly given me some wonderful exposure. But what I think the coolest thing is, when I was younger, so in my, I'm not going to, I don't hide my age, but, when I was in my 20s, which was quite a while ago, I used to follow George. I watched his television show. And, anytime his seminar series that he did on the East Coast was anywhere close to Charleston, man, I got in the car and I went. And so it was like this full circle moment for me to get to come and do this show with him. And, so, I still pinch myself. I've watched it, I don't know how many times, and I still am just like, oh my gosh, I really just cannot believe that I got to do this with him. And it's been one of the most thrilling and just coolest experiences that I've ever had the opportunity to do. And, to get to share something with somebody that, that you just appreciate and has been just such a great mentor, unknowingly to him. I think it was really just awesome for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many days did you guys fish?
So we just fish two. Typically, what they'll do is they'll kind of plan for three, just to in case we've got weather issues or whatnot. And we were fortunate. His producer, we wound up actually only having to fish like 1.5 days because he's like, y'all did great. We've got so much footage that we can just we can take our time with this. And it was pretty cool because I guess that doesn't happen. But yeah, it's you get up early and you pray that the plan that you've come up with is going to work out. I've got a flats boat that I of course run my charters out of, and we got to use his brand new Mako Apex 24. It's a pretty cool bay boat that Mako came out with. And so I knew, I was like, we get to go, I can take him to the nearshore reefs in Charleston, which I do, but I don't get to do typically unless it's a super, calm condition day. And so, we went out to Cape, one of the nearshore reefs, and worked our way back. But it was great. I mean, we got the, that bottom fish, just potpourri, if you will. And it was a really great bite. And then of course the second day we got to do, which, I'm obviously addicted and passionate about, but we got to chase the redfish. And
Yeah.
I gotta say, I mean, it was super fun. George did think he was going to spank my booty on that. And I showed him up. It was pretty cool. So he'd catch a big redfish and I'd be like, I had a bigger one. It was fun, but it was just, we had this great little, I think for any people that, that fish a lot, there's always just this fun competition between you, no matter who you are. And so we had a great time just picking on each other and, kind of one-upping each other the entire time. But it was from start to finish, just so much fun.
Yeah. So was there a trailer boat that had all of the camera people and the producer on? Or
no,
did they
actually,
come
let me
back
tell you what,
and forth?
it was amazing. So it was just George and I, and then two of his kind of production crew. So there's Rob Green, who's his producer. He did a lot of the filming. And then Charles is his videographer who does all the drone footage. And let me tell you what, that dude is unreal with what he can do with a drone. And I was blown away. So they just use the drone, and then the two of them just are it's like a well-oiled machine. You can tell that they've got this show just nailed down. They know what they need to do. And I couldn't believe when I got to actually see the show, and just like everybody else, I saw it for the first time when it aired in March. And I was like, man, they just really did an amazing job of capturing the Lowcountry, our fishery, and then getting some really epic shots of the fish, which I thought was just, it just made it come together. And it was really just cool to see that they've just got this small team, but they make something so big out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is a great episode. Now, is that still airing? Is it on like a loop, like every so many months or weeks it airs again?
You can you can go to George Poveromo's YouTube channel, and you can watch it from here on out. All of his episodes are on there. As a matter of fact, we filmed the National Seminar Series for this year in January of 2026. We actually filmed that down in Florida at the, oh my gosh, my brain. At the IGFA, sorry, old lady brain here, can't think sometimes. And that's actually airing now on his channel as well. And then I think every if you go to his website, it's got all the listings, but it's now actually airing on ESPN2, like at 6:30 in the mornings. And I think that's going to be like every Saturday for the next chunk of months. So for folks, there's really anybody that wants to watch it. You don't have to have cable. If you've got access to the internet, you can certainly go to YouTube and watch it. And it is. I'm very proud of the episode. I tell my friends, I'm like, it's only 12 minutes of your life if you cut out the commercials. It's that little short bit, but super, super proud of, being able to showcase the Lowcountry. So humbling that, he chose me to do it. And, just, I don't know that I'll ever be able to convey what that experience was for me truly, but it's one that I think it's going to be hard to top in my life.
Yeah. You should be super proud. It was so cool to watch. I was sitting with some friends. Like I said, we were in Nashville when you said, "Hey, it's coming on," and so I turned it on, and of course they were like, "You know her?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "We chat," and it's like, "Oh, that's so cool." So getting it from my perspective, watching you, just super cool. Loved it. We were just sitting there, just big grins on our face going, "Oh, she's catching. It's great." So absolutely loved it. And I tell you what, I'm glad you didn't get I'm going to call it the camera skunk, because I don't know how many people I've heard, once the cameras click on, the fish don't bite. But
Yeah.
I mean,
let me tell you what, when I caught that
you've got
first little black sea bass, and they showed it, and I mean, that literally was, they put it on film, because I was like, oh my God. I was like, all right. I was like, we can take this little fish and we can make the show with this one little fish. I was just like, thank you, Jesus, we got a fish, And I think just after that moment, it's like that stress level goes down a bit. But oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, to think that you got 3 days that you hope to catch a fish, but I mean, you know how it is. There's days that I don't care. Where the fish are. You can't get them to eat. And so it was, that was just the big pressure was, you gotta make something happen that they can work with. And we got lucky with this one, because I do know that that's not often the case. Is they're trying to work a show around, and they wind up having to show off the place and really not the fishing part of it. So yeah, we were blessed to to have wonderful weather and to have just off the chain fishing.
Yeah, without a doubt. Super fun episode. I am not going to spoil what all you guys caught and the fish, but go check it out. Go over to YouTube, watch it on Discovery, and check out that episode. Super fun, super cool. But guys, we're coming up to the end of the first segment. Super fast. Again, I don't know where the time flies. I mean, 12, 13 minutes and it's just gone. So guys, don't go anywhere. We're talking with Captain Tanya Dowdy. You're listening to Dead Calm Outdoors right here on the Outdoor Radio Network. Well, welcome back, DCO Nation. We are talking with Captain Tanya Dowdy with Real Chica Charters. And that first segment, we talked about her experience with George Poveromo and the episode that she filmed down in Charleston. I mean, just absolutely awesome. Go check it out. It is worth the watch. So, Captain Tanya, you are doing something on Wednesdays at Haddrell's. Kind of tell us what you're doing with that.
Yeah, so I'm a part of, we've got a group, and we work hand in hand with the local tackle shop, which is Haddrell's Point Tackle. It's an event that we've been doing for, or I should say kind of a series that we've been doing for the last chunk of years. It's called Women's Wednesdays. And the first Wednesday of each month, we are now actually alternating between the Mount Pleasant and the West Ashley Tackle Shop, where we're putting on seminars and just trying to, do things like, we'll do like a 101. I talked back in March, I did spring tactics. We've actually got Captain Kelsey Dick, who's one of our local charter captains that also works for Shimano. She's going to be talking about some flood tide tactics coming up the first Wednesday in May. And so what we tried to do is each month we've got some female that's in the industry. So whether it's somebody like me as a charter captain, or, we might have somebody, that, works within the industry, just coming and talking to the women of the community. So it's a way for us to try to get more female anglers engaged. And then what we're also doing is, in addition to those Women's Wednesdays, we're trying to have some events where we can get together and fish. So we're trying to do some hands-on events. We're planning to try to do some maybe inshore trips as well as some offshore opportunities. So it's just a way to give lady anglers a way to, either start or just kind of be able to sort of figure the steps out, and then have other, females that they can feel comfortable with, to get
Yeah.
out there. It's just, there's a lot of women in the Lowcountry and, everywhere that really, they enjoy fishing and they just don't know how to do it. Or, we like buddies. And so, if you don't have a
Mhm.
friend that likes to fish, but you really do, this is giving you the chance to hopefully meet some other women, that maybe want to share those experiences. And, you guys can start buddying up and, either going fishing, together or do the events together. So it's really just, it's been great. And the tackle shop has been just wonderful in, letting us have the event there, and then also expanding on the event and offering these women just bigger and, better opportunities with the experiences, that they're getting to do. So it's something that I really love. I mean, I love teaching, and I love getting to share what I know. And, it's the, really the backbone of why I have Real Chica Charters, is because I wanted to let women have a place where they felt comfortable and could get out and start fishing. And so this is just another way for me able, to have an avenue to be able to help women. So just being able to, be a part of it and work with, Mike Abel at the tackle shop is it's wonderful.
Yeah. And guys, if you would kind of want to see what's going on, go over to her Instagram, which is Real Chica. Is that correct? Yeah.
Correct.
And she has little video clips. There was one that was up there where she was rigging up a Z-Man on a Texas eye. So yeah, I mean, it gets down from the basics to, like you were saying, explaining the flood tide, which I may sit in the back and hide because I need some help with some flood tide fishing, get some stuff. But no, I think it's absolutely fantastic. But you're exactly right. There are women out there who fish. I see them at the landing. We're getting a ton jumping into kayaks, and it's an easy way to get off the shore, off the bank. It's cheap,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing a ton of them. And they're starting to follow me more and more on my social media. So,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of kicking them towards you a little bit more, going, hey, listen, there is some really good female leaders in the industry. So I'm really glad to see, the Women's Wednesdays, that you are doing.
Yeah, and that's what we're, this year we're really trying to focus on just building it up. And that's why we used to just do it at the West Ashley shop. And we decided that we would alternate back and forth between the shops, just, because when people have to come over that big Ravenel Bridge with our traffic, which is, we all know, unfortunately, is atrocious in the area. And so we're trying to offer, ladies the opportunity to have, okay, well, I can't go to West Ashley, but hopefully I live closer this way, and now I can come to the Mount Pleasant. So at least they can come to some of them and start seeing what we're doing, and then, tell their friends about it. Hopefully folks that might be watching the show, they've got, a wife or a girlfriend or a friend that they know might be interested, and go, look, here's an opportunity for you to really see what it's all about. And, do you really enjoy fishing? And this will help you, be able to feel comfortable and get out there and do it on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I know we've got listeners all over the country. You may not be around the South Carolina, Charleston area, but look up in your area, be it Texas, Florida. There are seminars and stuff going on all the time. Jump on, the social medias and find out where these local seminars, you can get plugged in. The groups are all over the place. So
Sure.
yeah, I would really encourage you to
And I
do
always
that.
tell people, you don't have to, I did a bunch of seminars up at the Palmetto Sportsman Classic in Columbia back in March when they had their big event. And, those folks were from, Columbia and the upstate, and, they don't always get down here. But I just always tell people, look, I'm here to be a resource for you. Reach out to me, text me, email me. I'm always happy to, answer questions or help people get started, so, you don't have to necessarily be here in Charleston to get the help. You just, know that there's a group of us out here that want to help you and, just make it easier and more accessible for you. We've got a group that women can join. Here is called Angling Women of the Lowcountry. We've got a Facebook group, and once a month we're trying to do some meetups where we fish, different places, and so that's another opportunity for women to come out and actually get to fish. So not just be in the classroom, but actually have hands-on fishing, and we can provide gear for women that don't have their setups yet.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Well, let's kind of dovetail into what are you seeing on the water? We got about 5 minutes. So
Okay.
I know I want to get into it just a little bit, but spring is here. Water temperatures are up. So what are you seeing?
Let me tell you, it's finally getting like exciting because we had a rough early spring. I mean,
Yeah.
March was, woo, I was glad to get out of
Yeah.
March.
Brutal.
Yes, we've had some wind, but man, like last week we had those super glassed out days. I actually took the flats boat for the first time. I actually took it 6 miles offshore, and I was like, woo! My buddy and I went out to the near shore, crushed it with the sheep's head and some bottom fish. But as far as inshore, oh my gosh, the fish are getting fired up. The water temps are kind of upper 60s, low 70s. We still have
Mhm.
the redfish are still in some small schools. We don't have those big schools, but I mean, we're seeing menhaden start to move in. There's lots of mullet, starting to see some shrimp. So the marshes and the estuaries are coming alive. I was fishing on Friday this past week. I had a little me day and took the boat out, and I mean, the dolphin were just crushing bait everywhere.
Mm.
And, I could see these schools of redfish, and I was fishing around these docks and all. And it was just like, I was like, oh my God. My adrenaline was like so just pumped up to watch these fish in this super, super skinny water, just crushing the shrimp and just pushing, and just, they were oblivious to me even being there. And I was like, oh yeah, the fishing is just going to start to get better and better from here. And, shrimp patterns are working. So, I'm a big fan of Z-Man. So the Z-Man
Mhm.
prawn stars and the loose body prawn stars, which I really love, or even throwing the little small 2.5-inch salty Ned shrimp are working great. That kicker crab, which is that blue crab profile, working great as well. Fishing those on the I Strike Texas eye. So that's that weedless jig head that works fantastic. It's got that articulated head, and really, I have fished that, I won't say exclusively, but it is just my top jig head because you can put so many of the Z-Man soft
Yeah.
plastics on it. And, the fact that it's weedless, it really is a game changer for you. Because like these redfish that I was fishing around the docks, I mean, they're in like this much water, and I'm having to pitch it through the dock, and then work it back over those oysters that are in and
Mhm.
around, and you're able to do that. So, I mean, this is the time I tell people, we got spring and fall when those fish get fired up. We got all this bait. Start throwing artificial. This is your time to start, and it will build your confidence. And you really will just be like, you know what? I don't have to worry about throwing that cast net. I can start zinging these other baits, and I can start fishing right away, as opposed to either having to go and get bait or throw the cast net or whatnot. But I think you'll have a hard time getting skunked right now if you play your cards right and you do your homework. And the big thing is looking at your tides, planning, and you got to have more than just one spot. You got to figure things out. But our technology and mapping systems and just the information that of course, stuff like this show does is people can get all that knowledge to then go out and do it. And I mean, I can't wait to see what April, May, June. I think we're gonna have a good spring, summer, as far as the fishing goes, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, are you seeing the big flounder coming back in?
I haven't seen any big ones, but I've definitely hooked a few. So I haven't,
Yeah.
nothing big yet. I don't know if Jason, those guys up in Merle's have been seeing any yet. I mean, we're definitely starting to see, I'm seeing them. I just haven't seen any of the bigger ones yet, but I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, the biggest one I've caught so far was 17 and a quarter. So,
Yeah,
that's one of those things where it's kind of like, okay, here
yeah,
they start to come. But I haven't heard anybody hooking into any 20s yet.
yeah.
We do have a big flounder tournament coming this weekend. So, we'll see how that plays out. But
Well, and I will say too, just with this warming water, the trout are finally kind of making their way back out of that deeper water, and the top water bite's been pretty good in the mornings for me with the trout. So
yeah, absolutely fantastic. So, again, Captain Tanya, I really do appreciate you coming on. Tell everybody how they can follow you, book a trip. Yeah, let everybody know all your social medias and how they can contact you.
well, I'm not hard to find because I'm barely 5'2", 100 pounds, and stick out like a sore thumb with this platinum blonde hair. But you can find me on Instagram at Real Chica. You can find me at my website at realchicacharters.com. You can text me, which is really probably the easiest way. You can also email me. I'm very easy to communicate with. Again, love to get folks out. I really love to teach. I'm super passionate about lady anglers and getting those young people out on the water. So,
Mhm.
if you guys are looking to do something, holler at me. Love to get you out. And Chris, as always, thank you for asking me to be on. Super good time as always with you.
Well, I appreciate you. It's always fun. You're becoming one of the OGs of the show. Do they still say that? I don't know. OG, I don't know. Whatever. So we'll yeah, we're gonna end it on my whatever dad joke. So guys, remember, conservation starts with you. Release a fish for someone else to enjoy. And you've been listening to Dead Come Outdoors right here on the Outdoor Radio Network.